Big time fight coming up this weekend at lightweight. We will finally figure out if Jim Miller is a day late and a dollar short. He's taking on a heck of a striker in Brazil's Iron Nikolas Motta. Do not take Mike Tyson's nickname. The book, there's a Mike Tyson book here somewhere in the office behind us. You don't grab it
every time we mention it.
But when it comes to this fight, I mean, for Jim Miller, his last time out against Eric Gonzalez, he turned back the clock. The trouble was the day late, dollar short. In the first round, he did get outstruck by Ghost Pepper. He was kind of looking a little bit slow, and then the second round starts. Gonzalez got his hands down. Jim Miller at close proximity cold cocks him and knocks him dead. So for Jim Miller, he only has 5 of his wins by knockout or TKO, and that's one of them. Like, that's crazy to see because for Miller, we know him as this gritty, tough veteran. I mean, in the Clay Guida fight, they're going at it. They're rocking each other. That one was a lot of fun. That wasn't yesterday. Like, that fight was a little bit ago at this point. And for Miller, he's really accentuated that great pressure that he's able to mount on guys who just aren't at that skill level in terms of their grappling on the mat. He submits you. He makes it look easy. But there's certain fights, like when he fought Vince Pichel, where he can get held down and he can get caught just holding guard and waiting. And in a fight like this, we're not going to get that. Nikolas Motta is not that fighter. And before, when he was matched up with Jim Miller, which was back, early part of winter, I figured, okay, Motta's training at Factory X for this one. And Motta, I mean, this is just a cursed fight. He's had a lot of opponents fall out. This is kind of the second booking of this Jim Miller fight. He's gone back to Brazil, training at Nova União, so he's got Dede Pederneiras in his corner. But oh, by the way, Motta's there for the camp of RDA. That's why he is there. So really neat to see that. But Nikolas Motta is one of those guys. When we talk about a guy making his UFC debut, I know he did just win his last fight by decision on Contender Series. This guy has such fast hands. It's insane. So I really am excited to see Nikolas Motta make that debut. But Matt, picture yourself. You're in the back, you're getting ready for a fight, and you're there with Jim Miller.
Okay.
Do you anticipate he's just there with Dan Miller listening to Ram Jam on repeat?
Without a doubt.
Okay, so I can't wait to see it. I mean, IFL days at their core. But Jim Miller, absolute living legend. Most fights in the UFC, looking to add to that coming up this weekend. Is he going to be able to add to the win total? I don't know, but I do like this booking here.
I'm going to quote Ricky Bobby to start this video. If you don't chew Big Red, then you. And if you don't like Jim Miller, I feel that exact same way about you. Because Jim Miller, again, represents all the cool parts about MMA. He's an older fighter who's learned new things as he's progressed throughout his career. He used to be a main event level fighter. He had that famous main event against Cowboy Cerrone, where both of them were in the top 10. An Atlantic City main event. People forget how bopping Atlantic City was for like MMA and boxing for a long time. Unfortunately, not the heyday of Atlantic City anymore, but still, that was a really big event at the time, and Jim Miller has still been around since then. Like, I remember on the Fight Companion last night saying, oh, well, Derek Brunson, he's been a main event caliber fighter for 6 years now. Jim Miller's like, that's cool, hold my beer. I've been in the UFC for over 15 years. That's wild to me. Like, he's been around for longer than most champions have been in the organization. Since most champions have even fought their MMA careers, Jim Miller's been able to stay at the peak of competition for all this time. And it has been interesting because I know I say he's learned some new tricks. Maybe that's an over-exaggeration. He has improved as he's gotten older, though. I know we have seen some limitations in his game. Like you said, at this stage, he can get out-wrestled because physically he isn't as explosive as he once was. Go back and watch the guy who fought Joe Lozon in those wars. Again, that was an explosive fighter, but he has taken a lot of damage at this stage of his career, and that's what I always worry about. Like, when you're a baseball player and you're 35, it's, hey, you can still be good, but you always worry about that one next injury. It could be your last one. In an MMA fight, every single time you go out there, you are taking a lot of damage. And with Jim Miller being 38 years old now, being in the UFC and only fighting the top levels of competition for such a long time, it does make me a little concerned when he's fighting such a top-level striker in a guy like Nikolas Motta, because in Motta, he is so much faster than Jim Miller on the feet that I do worry about how is Miller going to get his respect in the striking, because I know Miller looked great against Gonzalez in his last fight, but I think we could both agree that that was sort of a flash in the pan. I don't really expect Jim Miller to go out in this fight throwing a lot of overhand lefts. If he does, I think it's going to be a very short night for him. But I think this is a great opportunity for Iron Motta coming out of Brazil. It's very rare that you get a level of competition or an opponent with the name of Jim Miller being your UFC debut.
And if you look at it, former common opponent between these guys in Joe Selecki, and for Jim Miller, he wasn't on the winning end of that fight. For Motta, He finished him. So crazy to see that. Motta, a guy that came on the Ultimate Fighter Brazil Season 4, lost to Glyco França, a guy who was able to do some things and then do some dirty things over at the PFL and get a couple no contests on his record. But when it comes to this fight, I mean, yeah, Motta is so much faster on the feet. Every fight starts out on the feet, and I think he's going to have decent enough takedown defense against Jim Miller. Miller is one of those guys, he's like, I don't know, like one of those weird stringy things that you put up in the summer for flies. He can really stick right to you.
I was going to say he's like an old work coat. Like, it might not look good. It doesn't, like, you wouldn't wear it to town. But if you're ever doing something around the house, you just throw it on because you're afraid you're going to ruin your other clothes. Wow. Like, it gets the job done, but it's not really something that you flaunt around telling people, hey, watch MMA because Jim Miller's fighting this weekend.
I think you're seeing a lot of those coats at Canadian Tire. But when it comes to this fight, Matt, we look at the odds. Jim Miller open a minus 185 favorite. Plus 149 right now for Motta, the comeback. Open to plus 160. He is a minus 179 favorite. If we look at the overall card, he is the biggest mover and shaker at a 65% clip. We have a look at Tapology for the votes. Okay, I'll make this one fun. We haven't seen them. You haven't seen them, Matt. I'm going to set the over-under at 80% for your UFC debuting fighter.
I don't know if I've got one of these right all day, by the way. I'll say it's over.
All right, so we have a look. It's under 520 total votes, 69%. Miller, what? 58% by submission for the 31% that have Motta, 62% by decision. I think Nikolas Motta goes out there and boxes his head in. I mean, again, I love Jim Miller, and I've come across, like, you know, without any reverence for his overall career. I've let you carry that torch in this video. Jim Miller is that crafty veteran that is the litmus test of, are you meant for the UFC or not? Remember the Roberts fight?
I think what my favorite Jim Miller fight is.
I mean, that was one of those ones where Roberts coming in with a head of steam, and then he makes a terrible mistake, and Jim Miller's able to capitalize and get the win. But for Motta, his striking is so good. It's so crisp. In a fight like this, I saw Eric Gonzalez have success in the first round against Jim Miller. I think Motta is quite a bit better than Gonzalez. I think he's a lot better than Miller on the feet. I think Motta's going to get the win. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a TKO in this one either.
No, I wouldn't either. Now, if Jim Miller gets a takedown 1 minute into this fight, it's over for Motta, and he's probably getting choked unconscious. I still think Jim Miller has that ability to just sort of go and get it, if you will, and really force his opponent down to the mat. I think he's going to really struggle with his takedown attempts in this fight, and I do like Motta quite a bit.
Let us know down below in the comments section who you have. Can Jim Miller go out there, turn back the clock once more, and get the submission victory? I was reading a breakdown from back in early winter, and somebody had him to win that way. I think it was like plus 350 or plus 375. Wow. Maybe you like it that way. Both of us going with Brazil's Nikolas Motta to get the win in his UFC debut against a guy who has been around since 2008 with the promotion. 14 years. Wild stuff. That's there. Insane. Listen, you're going to want to see the rest of the week that is, because we have an American and a Brazilian in our main event. Jamahal Hill taking on Johnny Walker. You're not going to want to miss this. Keep it locked in with Fight Night Picks. We always say, let's get into it.